Well, obviously, got our last conference game on the road at a place that's been really difficult for us to play at. But, excited about the opportunity again to – there goes somebody's recorder – to get to – here, you said it right there – to get to go play and, play game 16 of a conference schedule. It's such a grind. This is the last one, 2 months of just absolutely the best competition you can ever dream and imagine of, and having to finish up at Kentucky on their senior night. Seems like that's where we get every year. I'd probably like to talk to the scheduler in the conference office. Seems like I'm always playing them on senior night. Thought they when they came in here really played well, played with a lot of confidence, and we had to play really well that day. We opened up, we played well the first half and kind of stayed even with them in the second, but they did a great job, and I know they'll be ready for us. So we're gonna have to go in there and play well, no question. It's an early game. Really has some logistical problems from a standpoint of you got no shoot-around day of game. I mean, when you're playing at 11 Central, 12 Eastern, I mean, it just makes no sense to get up at 5:30 to go for a 6 o'clock shoot-around. These are the things that you guys and the public doesn't know, but if you're going to play at 12 Eastern, 11 Central on TV, then this is what you have to do. So it makes it a little awkward for the visiting team, and but that's part of life on the road. So we'll go in there and have to be prepared. These 2 days here at home are going to be real important for us, and we've got some things we've got to fix, and that's my challenge, I think, to this team right now is just this time of year, are we getting any better? Every day in practice, are we going hard enough? Are we working hard? Are we pushing each other to get better? I think that was my disappointment with that group last night. With 2:38 to go, they came in the game and basically gave up, I think, a 6 or an 8-0 run to let somebody get 61 on us when we haven't given up 60 points in 10 games. Our team has a little pride in that number, and we just go out there and slop it up and have 3 or 4 turnovers, give them a bunch of transition layups and second chance points. And, I'd like to see us have a little more pride in that. So real disappointed in that. We'll start film showing that 5, exactly how that looked. And, we've got to be better. You know what? That's our future. And if that's our future, that's going out there and playing with 2:38 to go and giving that up, then we've got some things we've got to address.
You spoke before about the kind of the business-like nature that they have, and you tried to pump them up, things like that. They just kind of keep moving forward. Do you feel like that stretch last year when they lost those 2 games had anything to do with how their attitudes changed, especially moving into tournament play last year?
No, I think, number one, Kentucky was really good, had 2 really good difference players in Ekator and the guard. And, those 2, just wreaked havoc on us. And so it was them being really good that night, again, on senior night. And so we didn't get it done in regulation, and we went to overtime and had a chance and didn't get it done in overtime. So, that team was really good. Then we came home, and I just think it was a combination of we got Tennessee's absolute best shot, best game that they played all year. That was their WNBA night as far as I'm concerned, and we didn't play well. But I think Tennessee played really well. And so then you had senior night, not a dry in the building. Again, the biggest train wreck I've ever been a part of. And it just was a nightmare. So, we regrouped. I think everybody thought that our confidence was shaken going into the tournament. And, we had a knockdown drag out that first round on Friday night against LSU. It was touch and go for 3.5 quarters, and we pulled away and won by 17. And, shoot, it was a, tie ball game in the 4th quarter. So, but I think that's our team. We kind of hang, we just kind of keep punching you. And the next thing you know, we hit you with a knockout blow and can get away from you. So, and then we bounced back that second night and really played well against A&M, a 3rd game against them in the year. So I don't think it was that as much as just the teams that we were playing. And you got to give them credit, man. They were getting ready for us. They knew what was at stake for us. And, those kids are competitive, just like Sunday's going to be that way.
What's the challenge of possibly playing a team 2 times in 6 days?
Well, I think that a lot can be said about that, and you can go, that's this and that's that. Bottom line is, if we play the way we're supposed to play, I don't care who we're playing, and I think that's the attitude you have to take. A lot will have to happen for that to happen, but still, we all know it's a possibility. But for us, it's just whoever it is. I mean, that's how we've been all year. I think for us it's an advantage because once we get familiar with somebody, I think we're really good at following a scout and executing defensively and then knowing what we can get away with on offense.
Do you want them to take, them being your players, do you want them to take that attitude another step forward, almost using the fact that you guys have that zero rather than that scarlet letter A, and use that as a chip on your shoulder as opposed to a burden that says, oh my goodness, if we lose our first game, the world could come crashing down upon us?
Yeah, I mean, we really haven't talked about it. All we've talked about is the next team, the next one up. We've talked about winning championships. We have not dodged that. I put a picture of the championship trophy, the SEC championship trophy, on their locker back in late December, early January. I wanted them to look at it every day. I wanted them to see what it looked like. I wanted that to be their focus. But you can't get past one game at a time. If you'll go with the process and just be in the moment, the process will get you to where you want to be, which it did. We've got to stay in that process. There's still so much to play for. Seeding in the NCAA tournament, an SEC tournament championship. All those things are still in front of us, and so for us, we haven't, we know there's a target. Heck, we've had to deal with it all year. We don't really talk about the rest of it. We just try to go be the best we can be every game, and that's been good enough so far.
I know Johnny was a critical piece of you wanting to take this job and build your program. Why do you think that? Why do you think she's such a big piece of this program, and how has she been so effective in developing, especially your bigs?
Yeah, she fulfills so many roles for me. She's a veteran that, like me, sees the whole total program. She can not only coach these kids, mentor them, develop them on the court, but develop them off the floor. Again, as not only a coach, but a mom and a grandma, can be that person that they can lean on when they're away from home. Be a voice, a mature voice, an older voice that may have nothing to do with basketball, but can talk to them in terms of experience and things like that. She's also somebody that she and I are so much alike in that we embrace the grind. We pay attention to detail. We leave nothing to chance. I have so much complete trust in her as well as my entire staff because that's how we're all built. But in coming here, I knew that's what I had in her, and I had to have that person. It's the only person, y'all. And again, I've been doing it a long time. It was the only, I didn't have, well, if she doesn't come, I can go get this one and she can do it. I didn't have that person. And she's the only one that had complete, total autonomy and trust that I knew could do what we wanted to do and how I needed to do it. And if I wasn't around, if I was on the road and something came up, she knew what my answer would be and she could make that decision. It's hard to find. And so that's, again, that's the coach. And there's so much that goes into coaching. Great coach, great fundamental teacher, attention to detail, all those things, but it's the other things that we as coaches, sometimes it gets lost in the shuffle that people outside don't understand what we have to do with these young people. And, in my mind, there's just nobody, and still today, there's nobody better.
Was that something with her that you knew right away when you met her, or did that take time for you to kind of, how did that relationship?
Yeah, I think it grew. Our time together, we officed next to each other, and just like me being with Coach Blair 15 years, the first year was much different than the 15th as far as workload, trust, complete, your deal, you got it, and so I think it happened over time. But again, you have to give. I took I took ownership of what I did and how I did it with Coach, so that he would try. And Johnny's the same way. I mean, she just constantly. We were in our offices, and she was in mine, I was in hers. We talked about scouting. We talked about what we were looking for. The recruiting piece. We were both involved together a lot in recruiting, and so that's just something that over time. But again, I think I knew it early on when I met her and got to know her, and again, now I've not only got her, but I've got Carly and Deanna, and I'm just telling y'all, that is a machine in there. The work that we get done and how we get it done, and the precision that it's done, the attention to detail. I mean, just so fortunate, so lucky, so blessed. As the head coach, and Mississippi State is so lucky and so blessed to have that kind of staff in there. I mean, it's the same way every day. You can always count on the same thing, and for me, that's important because so many other things come up that aren't the same. But it is the same. Well, every day I just know what I'm getting up and down that hallway, and it just means the world to me. 98.
Remember what you guys' regular season record was?
I do. We finished tied for 6th in the SEC, and I think we won one game in the tournament, beat Auburn, I think, in the first round, and got beat in the second round by Florida. And that's when they had Muriel Page, and they high-load you to death, and they were so good. But and we went in as the 9 seed, and to my knowledge, we're still the only 9 seed to make it to the Final Four. So yeah, I remember it quite well. And again, just like today, if you get out of the SEC and into the NCAA tournament, I don't care what your seeding is, you've been to enough wars, you've had enough experience going against the best, you'll have a chance in the NCAA tournament to get a long way.
The fact that you guys were that successful there, and I know you've been through the wars since then, but 15-0 with a chance to go 16-0, I know it was different, but 2 more games, so it's 2 more marathons, to run. Has that significance sunk in that you're one step away from completing the gauntlet, so to speak?
Oh, yeah, I mean, I know it better than anybody. I mean, I've lived in this league longer than anyone, and I mean, I'm very aware. When you've done it 33 years and you've been in this league for as long as I have, I mean, I've gone against those great Pat Summitt teams. I've gone against those great Andy Landers teams at Georgia. I mean, it's just, it's just so. Jim Foster had it going at Vanderbilt back then. Florida was a monster. The list goes on and on and on, and it just, it's. I mean, I have a real appreciation. I think that's why sometimes I want it so bad for them, but they don't realize it. They don't understand the history of the league. They just, it's another game. Who are we playing? Where are we going? Coach, we're winning by 15. Why are you so upset? Well, because we're winning by 15, but on Sunday, if we're playing like this, we're going to get beat by 15. And so I think that's the piece that, as coaches, that's the challenge. Do you let them get away with slop? Do I let that last group walk in today and go and let them think, it's okay to go out there and give up an 8-0 run and let them score 61? Or do I go in there and rip and roar and go, you know what, guys? You're supposed to be my starting this and my starting this next year, and this is what I've got to trust? This is your effort? This is how you take care of the ball? Nah, I don't think so. I mean, I think if we're earning our check, if I'm earning my check of my staff, that's not what you do. You don't let the third string line go in and give up 3 straight running plays for a loss of yardage or a sack. I mean, I think those kids have got to learn through the process that there's an expectation level, because you know what? What happens if somebody rolls up an ankle? God forbid, or we got foul trouble. I've got to have confidence to know that who I'm putting in there can go in there and take care of business and handle the ball and not turn it over. And, kid says, well, gosh, Coach, who do I throw it to? Well, here's what I know. You don't throw it to the ones in blue. Don't throw it to them. So this is coaching, y'all. And, you know, again, it's just how my staff and I are built. We're just going to continue to coach and teach every possession, every play, no matter the score.
You mentioned the 11 a.m. start on Sunday. At the risk of sounding sacrilegious, you anticipate some early church dismissal?
I hope not. I hope they have communion and go a long time that day. You know, it's 12 Eastern. It's 11 for us here Central. It's 11 for our kids. But, you know, it's just the nature of the beast. But, you know, I fight this battle all the time in our league. I just think it's terrible that we do it. But, I mean, it is what it is. And, you know, it's just what we have. So we'll line up and be ready to go. And our kids will be ready. That's not you know, that's not going to keep us from winning.
Two quick ones, Vic. Going back to last night, that donation to the Boys and Girls Club. Just for you personally, what did that mean to you?
Well, it was it's such a great organization. I'm proud of our fan base and their support of our program. Our kids deserve that. So it was a win-win for me. Our seniors, this team, so special. Getting those fans to come shatter the record, quite frankly, a record at 113,000 now that be hard-pressed to break. And then those seniors, again, being able to play in front of those sellout crowds. But, you know, the 10,000 for me was no problem. Again, love the organization, love what they stand for. They just do so much for our community. Again, it's a way for Holly and I to really give back. But to see what the rest of the Bulldogs did to supplement that, it just, again, I think it just shouts to the world, this is a special place, this is who we are, this is what we're about. And again, it would be so easy for those people that gave that money to give it to their grandkids, their own children, their wife, take a trip, whatever. That's the way of the world today, quite frankly. But for them to do that, for this organization, and to say, hey, we're going to do this and we want to honor our seniors, you know, in this manner, I think it makes it really special.
Going off of that, in the broadcast last night, they ran something, I think the year before you took over here at Mississippi State, it was like 23,000 people total came to visit an entire season of Mississippi State women's basketball. Now to have it over 100,000, when you came here, you know, to have a day like yesterday, did you envision that in 5 years down the road?
You know, I really did. It's part of building the program. You know, it's not just wins and losses and X's and O's. It is your fan base. It's people planning their lives around a women's basketball game. It's planning their lives around the SEC tournament. It's planning their lives around the NCAA tournament. You know, we go to Georgia this year on New Year's Eve at 5 o'clock. We got more Bulldogs in there than they got Bulldogs. Vanderbilt, they announced 2,900. We had 2,500 of them. They were all in maroon. And that's part of building the program. Now, to be honest, that first year, I probably didn't want that many people in there. We weren't very good. But you give your kids all the credit in the world because those people are in there to see them, to see how they play the game, how they honor the game, how hard they play, to sit there next to their own son, their own daughter, and say, hey, I want you to play like Dominique Dillingham. I want you to play like Victoria Vivians. That's the piece that's very rewarding. And so, yeah, when I talked about the blueprint, that's part of the blueprint for sure.